yourself a drink real quick. We'll get started with the appreciation dinner for Rex Bay here in about 2 minutes. I got my wife here. Come on here. Yeah, same here. Hey, drop the pin. Everybody got their favorite beverage in front of them? Everybody, get your beverage. Adrian, hit that button. Hit the button. Okay, ready, everybody? Here we go. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight for Rex. This all came about because I started thinking about how many of my coaches and your coaches have passed away. And I thought, you know what? Instead of standing there at the funeral home when I die and saying, and Rex coming up and going, you know, he's a pretty good guy. You know, Lord knows he's going to outlive me. But anyway, I thought, you know, let's have a night for Rex, because he's done a lot for everybody in this room. And Rex, I want you to know there's a lot of guys who could not make it tonight. And they said they were so disappointed. And not only that, but I'm surprised some of these concrete walls are still standing. Because I heard a lot of guys say, I would run through a brick wall for that man. So you are very well respected and very well respected. I got a few people speaking tonight. Before they start, I want to say one thing that a lot of people don't know. But Rex was originally hired by Cabby O'Neill back in 1969, correct? Correct? And he was really hired to be the cross-country coach. Not a lot of people knew that, but cross-country hadn't wanted to meet probably 5, 6, 7 years. But with a team of Muck Blessinger and Crow Crawline and Whitey Vogler, and Weasel Winslow, and Slick Weber. We posted 3 big wins that year, Rex. You did a hell of a job. Anyway, by Nita Ackerman, thank you very much to the KSC. Please, you tight-ass German tipper. Okay, don't be afraid to put out the money tonight, so we can do this again sometime. Next, first speaker tonight is a fellow Holy Family Owl alumni. He's been my best friend since I was in first grade. He's rebounded a lot of my misses. The one and only Mr. Al Sang. Come on up here, Al.
5 minutes.
I'll give you 7 now.
All right.
Take off.
Okay, so I'm thinking back. I would like to paint a picture, if you could, for you older guys. Younger guys aren't going to remember this, but picture back the old Cabby O'Neill Gym. Okay, that's where we played our basketball back in high school. Think about the old Hallett Halls of Jasper High School. So, going back to those days, I'm going to talk about Carl Rex May, coach and character building. He had many attributes, and that's one of them. So here's the story. So one day we're practicing, right? And it gets late in the day, and we're scrimmaging, and all of a sudden Rex blows his whistle, and he calls his 2 pet players, Slick Weber and Kevin Manley, says, "You guys hit the shots." Okay, so we keep scrimmaging a little bit longer, and we're all thinking, Nick and I are looking at each other going, hey, we're not going to have to run tonight, right? Well, all of a sudden, scrimmage ends. Rex says, everybody on the line. Well, that means we're gonna run killers. You guys remember killers, right? Out to the free throw line back, the halfway court line back. So we run, and we run. And finally he says, all right, you guys hit the shots. We go downstairs locker room. Slick and Kevin are already half dressed, and they say, hey, do you guys have to run? And I let an F-bomb fly. I said, F yes. And right then, Joe Roller walks out of the shops. Joe looks at me and says, whoa, Alice Sang has bad language. And I'm thinking, well, where's this gonna go? Well, nothing happened. Next day, come to practice, walking down, you guys remember that ramp going down to the dressing room? Oh, yeah. Walking down that ramp, Joe Roletter's coming up the ramp, he's got this big smile on his face. And I thought, Joe Roletter never smiles at anyone. So I get dressed and I go out on the floor. Rex says, Al, come here. I hear you're upset with me because you don't like to run. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. And you know, whenever he says we're, that we shit, you know, it's like, so, I want you to go up top of the gym, and you start running around that top of the gym, and I'll tell you when you come back down. So you remember that old gym, those bleacher seats are about that wide, and the leg room is about that wide.
Al's about this wide.
And then you had that press box over in the corner, so you had to come down the steps, and go back up the steps, and run around. So I did that for about, I don't know, 20 minutes until practice starts, and he says, okay, come on back down. So then we practice, and then we run killers, and then everybody goes to the dressing room and goes, hey Al, come here. Tell you what we're gonna do. I want you to go back up top of that gym, and I want you to run around top of that gym, and I'll tell you when to come back down. So I'm up there running again. Slick and I used to walk home from practice together. Slick's standing there in the doorway waiting for me. Rex is down there, the only guy in the gym shooting free throws, and just kind of watching me run around. And then finally he says, all right, Sang, come on down. And he says, so, are you still upset with me? And I'm thinking, damn right, I'm upset.
You said F yes, I'm upset.
I said, no, coach, I'm not upset with you. And then he says, okay, so you're going down to the locker room, you're gonna cuss at me? I said, damn right, I'm gonna do. No, I said, no, coach, I'm not upset with you, and I'm not gonna cuss. So I go back down in the locker room, and I'm just gonna say, that was Rex May character building. My other story is about Rex May motivator. So, my girlfriend had a locker room that was right next to Rex May's homeroom class. And I hang around that locker out, right? She's now my wife for 48.5 years.
There you go.
So Rex would come out there and he'd see me standing in our locker room and he'd say, you know, Sang, if you'd spend half as much time practicing free throws as you do hanging around this locker room, I'm gonna make one. So that weekend we had a game, and it just so happens that week, Jane got tonsillitis. She had to go to the hospital. She was there over the weekend. And we had a game that weekend, and we played terrible. We all played terrible.
You guys did, I played pretty well.
So, you know, we're in our locker room, and Rex liked to go like each guy, right? You pick what you did, what you did. And he came to me and he goes, Sang, you played terrible tonight. All I know is you might have just as well been sitting up at the hospital with your girlfriend as far as being down here. So, next week, you know, Jane's back to school. I'm there by the locker room, and he says, talk to your boyfriend, will you? Try to get his head back again and playing basketball. So that weekend we have another game. It just so happens, a real anomaly happens. I happen to score more points than Weber, Manley, and Nichols.
Oh, I ain't believing it, I wanna see that.
That was probably the only time in my life that ever happened. And it's like, you never touch the ball when you got those three guys in there.
That Manly like to shoot.
So when we're back down in the locker room, right? Rex comes over and goes, Sang, I don't know what the hell got into you tonight, but all I know is we're gonna make sure your girlfriend stays healthy the rest of the basketball season. So Rex, I just want to say I had more fun, enjoyment playing under you as coach, you and Ed Schulteis. It was just a real joy playing with you guys, and I can't think back with all the good memories of that big part. So, Rex May, coach, character builder, motivator.
I'll say, better person, better friend than he is a basketball player. Mike Ballinger, when you get a chance, bring me a beer, will you? Next up is another classmate of mine. You know, it's amazing. Most people, when you say, hey, how about standing in front of like 90 people and talk a little bit? Most of them go, hell no, I don't want to do that. No, you know. Well, Rex, when I asked, every person I asked said, absolutely, I will do that. So, you know, it did take me long to find some speakers.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Anyway, this guy, he rebounded a lot of my business also. More manly, not as mine, but anyway. Fellow classmate, great guy, friend forever, one of the best. Tommy Nicholson, come on up, Tommy. Hey, Darryl.
Short and to the point.
There you go, baby.
Not to the point.
15 minutes.
Get 10.
I even typed it like this.
There you go. Well, were you at Rex-based typing class? Were you? Yeah, I bet there were some people.
Pat Mullen.
Ah, Mullen, there you go.
Good evening. My name is Tom Nicholson. First of all, I'd like to thank Slick for putting this all together and being a classmate and ball hog. It all began, and I'll never forget this, the summer of 1969. That was between our freshman and sophomore year. I was playing in a pickup game over by 10th Street School when Rex pulled up. He watched us play till we were done and waved me over. He put his arm around me and said, "Nicholson, right?" I said, "Yes, sir. Let me give you some advice," he said. Excited, I said, "Yes, sir." "Do us both a favor and lay off 2 weeks, then quit." I'll never forget that. But seriously, Coach May, I'm grateful for the skills you instilled in me and the valuable lessons you've taught. Thank you for being an exceptional mentor. Love you, man. Now, Slick said I have to give you a hug.
I just want to say thank God Tommy did not take that advice. Next up, well, before I go on, let me tell a quick story. We're playing JV, sophomore year. We're at Honeyburg Memorial Gymnasium. First time we played there as a class. And we're not playing very well. About the middle of the first quarter, he substitutes 5 in, 5 out, right? And, you know, and we run over to the bench, and all of a sudden Rex goes, "Just keep on walking, boys." We all kind of looked at each other, and what? He goes, "Get your asses back in the locker room." We're in the middle of the first quarter. And so we walk back here to the locker room, and we're all sitting there, and Tommy Nicholson comes up with a great idea. He goes, "Let's just go back out." And I went, "What, are you crazy?" I said, "We're not leaving here till Rex Bay comes back here and tells us." Well, he came back, Rex came back and said, "You know, guys, I just don't like the way you're playing. You know, I wish you guys would put out a little more effort." And if you believe that's the way he said it, you've had one too many people. But anyway, we went out, kicked their ass and won, so it worked. But anyway, next up, class of 1975. One of the greatest games it is the greatest game I ever saw in my life. Triple overtime, and all I got to say is, Tucker tipped it in. Terry Tucker! Yes, sir, buddy.
Thanks, man. Hey, when Slick had texted me, asked me to speak tonight, and I mentioned it to Kim, and I don't know, we were chatting about it, and I was telling her who all was talking, and the only thing I said is, I don't want to follow Nicholson or Weber.
Everybody follows Weber.
And yet here I am. Coach May, good to see you. Always good to see you. I'll state a couple obvious things about Rex that everybody already knows. Good basketball coach, really good guy. But a couple other things that come to mind when I think about Rex that maybe some of you aren't aware of. He hated to lose more than anybody I ever played for in any sport. And I mean, he would coach those JV games, and I played for him as a sophomore. But he would coach those JV games, I'm sure, just as hard as he did his varsity games later on when he became the head coach. And the other thing that I think about, and you've already heard some of it in the stories that have been told, is he was a very direct communicator, and you didn't have to be a mind reader to play for him because you always knew what was on his mind. Always, okay? Be it good, bad, or ugly. And since Webb said to bring stories tonight, I've got a couple of stories to share that maybe illustrate some of that. And I can't remember exactly what game this was, but that doesn't matter. It was towards the end of my sophomore year. And I'm guessing we're playing up at Bedford. And that's so long ago, they were called the Stonecutters at that time. That's how long ago this has been. But we're playing up at Bedford, and we ended up winning the game in the second half going away, but then some problems in the first half. And so Coach Schulteis calls timeout, and we're over in the huddle, and he's going through adjustments and do this and don't do that, and those things that go on. So we break the huddle after that, and Coach May kind of gets me on the side, and he said, "What we really need you to do is throw the ball to leaguers and get the hell out of the way."
Good advice.
Real good advice. Real good advice. And it was such good advice, it wasn't the last time he reminded me of it during the course of my career. The other one, and Webb has already touched on this game just a little bit, but the other story I want to share is during the 75 sectional game, the championship game. And he's already mentioned that game did go 3 overtimes, and there have been a lot of stories told about that game over the years. Some people remember them correctly, and some people don't. And that doesn't matter. What only mattered was we eventually won. But this is at the end of the first overtime, and with about a minute to go, we're down 2. We've got the ball about a minute to go, and we miss a shot. Forest Park gets the rebound, and when they got into the front court, they immediately spread the floor. We're having to chase. Okay, and that possession did not turn out well for us because Forest Park ends up getting a layup, and so now we're down 4 with 25 seconds to go. Coach Schulteis calls timeout, and so we go back out there. I'm sorry, as we're coming off the floor towards the bench, nobody's saying a word because we know we're in deep trouble. All right, and I look up. And who's out doggone near in the middle of the floor? Coach May. And he is reminding us in no uncertain terms. I repeat, no uncertain terms. This game is not over, and we are not going to quit. And I don't know how much he believed what he said in that moment. But it got me refocused, and I'm sure it had an effect on other guys too coming off the floor. And luckily enough, we were somehow able to tie that game up and then win it in 3 overtimes. That sectional, most people know this, that sectional was the 5th straight sectional for Jasper. Yeah, for Coach Schulteis. Coach May had a lot to do with it as well. But what a lot of people don't know, a lesser known trivia fact is, during that 5-year run in Honeyburg Memorial Gymnasium, Jasper was 23-2 in that gymnasium. And A lot of people don't really realize that. The reason we play so many games there was season game, holiday tournament, and then the sectional tournament was there all the time. But needless to say, we kind of felt like we owned that place, and I always loved going back there. I also consider myself very lucky to have played for Jasper High School during that period of time. We had a lot of success. We got to play in the O'Neill Gym, which was a very special place to play in. And it was a great time, and I've always felt fortunate to have been a part of that run. And Coach, I want to thank you for the part you played in doing it, not just what you did, but how you did it. And I've always considered it as well a privilege to have played for you. So thank you very much.
Just a few comments about what he just said. First of all, you know, it didn't start with Lee with that phrase. He used to say, boys, just get the ball to Weber and get out of his way. Well, they never listened. You know, nothing happened. Hey, I would have been career leading scorer, but you know. But anyway, second of all, never. Second of all, greatest game I ever saw. And I'm going to tell a quick story. I know you're hungry, but who cares? Anyway, so I'm at Vanderbilt University. I come home. My dad always got me a ticket for the sectional. And I wasn't in the temporaries, but I was pretty far up, and I sit down. And 75, I was a junior, and I love being a fan. I mean, I'm a fan. So I sit down, and this beautiful black-haired lady beside me, probably about, 25 dual. Anyway, no. And anyway, she goes, "Aren't you Slick Webb?" And I went, "Well, is that good or bad?" She went, "Oh, that's good. I said, "Yeah, I'm Slick Webber." And she goes, "Oh, I remember when you played, and could you hear us cheer for you?" And and I'm like, "Well, once the ball went up, all I heard was Rex May screaming at me." But anyway, so I'm a fan, and it's the greatest game I ever saw. Mike Becker was unbelievable. How we won, I just watched that film the other day. Unbelievable. Anyway, so I'm sweating. I mean, I'm cheering like crazy. And every time Jasper scored a bucket, this lady, who I have no idea who she was, would go like this. That's all she did. Well, there was 14 seconds ago, we're down by 4, jump ball on our end of the court. I turned to her, and I mean, literally soaking wet. And I go, "I can't believe we're going to get beat like that." And she snapped her head at me, and she goes, "Not by them sons of bitches anyway." And I went, "Oh, okay, no love lost between us and Sherman." I mean, hello. Anyway, my next speaker was on the 1981 sectional championship team. He was a junior on that team, and I was at that game also, fortunate enough to see that one. Great game. And he made one of the biggest steals in Jasper's history, if you recall. By the center line, were we down 2, Mike?
Yes.
I think we were down by 2, and he stole the ball, went in for a layup to tie the game up. And we ended up winning in regulation. Recent inductee into the Jasper Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame, Mr. Mike Berger. Mike, try to keep it under a half an hour.
It's such an honor to be here tonight. I got to tell you, Coach May, look at all the swinging dicks that are here tonight. Who would have thought you could get this many swinging dicks in one room? Hey, Mike, you should sit down now. Yeah, that's as good as it gets. Drop the mic and move on. So this is such a cool night in so many ways. I got Terry Fleck and Doc Berger, my 7th grade basketball coaches here. I got Kenny Brosmer, the only other Jasper basketball player, along with me, to average more fouls than points over in the career. Okay? So it's a big night. I played for Coach May as a sophomore in the JV team, and then as a junior and senior in the varsity. And as I was driving up here from Nashville today, I was thinking, okay, what words describe Coach May? And we've heard a few of them here tonight. Honest is certainly one of them. And he would constantly say things to me to express that honesty, like, you'd be a hell of a basketball player if you could just shoot, dribble, and pass. You got a chance to be pretty good for a football player. You know? As a matter of fact, in the sign here, he's saying should have played football.
That's Mike Burke, by the way.
The other thing I remember him is that sarcastic wit that was always it always got the point across. When I was a senior, we were playing Memorial, and about, I don't know, a few minutes into the game, Coach May wasn't happy with our performance, and he drugged me and the other 4 starters off the floor into the locker room for some special encouragement. And we got into the locker room, walked off the floor, through the crowd, everything, and we were in there about 10 minutes. And he literally gave special encouragement to the other 4 guys and didn't say a word to me. Now, I didn't know whether to be relieved or offended. Either I wasn't good enough to even warrant a special encouragement, or, man, I'm glad he wasn't on me. So we ended up winning the game, I think, by 20 points. And it gnawed at me the whole weekend. And so Monday I came to practice and I said, Coach, man, if you're going to drag me off like that, you at least have to say something to me. And he said, well, Berger, I figured I had 10 minutes. I could either spend those 10 minutes on those 4 guys and not say anything to you, or spend 10 minutes on you and not say anything. So that was the coach math I learned. Last question I asked him about why he did or didn't do something. But it's, in all seriousness, Rex May did something for me that has stayed with the Berger family for 42 years. We were playing at Wright's our junior year. We were really good, had a good year, Wright's not. 6 seconds left, I get fouled. And Coach May, I went, there was no 3-point line, so if I make both of them, we're gonna win the game. Slick knows something about making those big free throws. But I missed the front end of the bonus.
Way to go, Bert.
Yeah. I mean, and they go down and hit a buzzer beater. So we lose the game. And I was pretty upset, as you can imagine. So I go up into the locker room. Now, Wrights hadn't won many games, and it was like they won the state championship. The crowd, all 500 of them, rushed the floor, and I went in the locker room. Rex came up and got me out of the locker room and made me watch it. And so we go back in, and Coach May says this bit to the team, and then says to me off to the side, what the hell are you upset about? And I said, well, I just missed a free throw. Would have won, 2 free throws would have won the game. He said, well, what you ought to be upset about is that I haven't seen you shoot 1 free throw before or after practice to get some extra work in and to get ready for that moment. He said, I want to ask you, he said, you handle the ball for us. You think we play in the sectional in a few weeks, they're going to foul Ballinger and Murder? They're going to foul your ass. So you can either go about your business this way and miss the big free throws, or you can do something about it. So the next morning, I started shooting free throws, and I must have shot a couple thousand between them and the section. Now, the point was, it taught me take care of the things you can control, right? Control the controllables. And it really doesn't matter how it ended up, 16 for 18 in the tournament, by the way. It's neither here nor there. But the point is he taught me how to prepare. And I use that same thing on my kids. My daughter played college tennis and is now the head women's coach at Belmont. The closest thing to a free throw is the tennis serve. And I've told her so many times, control what you control. Why are you upset you lost? Did you serve extra? Did you get all the work in? The same things he told me. So last night we were in Nashville. I came up here from Nashville today. And we didn't get back in time to see Ellie's match, their team's match, and they didn't play well. And I said to Ellie, what'd you say to the team? She said, I asked them why they're upset. They don't get any work, they don't do anything extra to prepare for this. Why would you expect a different result? What are you gonna do to change it? So the point of me saying this is, 42 years later and in the future, your legacy lives on.
Heavy stuff right there. You know, Mike, I can relate to you because when I was a junior, we were down at the hilltop, down at the Rice. I got fouled with maybe 7 seconds ago, and we're down by 1 or 2, I can't remember. And of course, I step up there and he goes, out. And we lost by a point. So, yeah, and you know, Rex didn't say a word to me, so I don't know what the hell that's. Anyway, Wayne probably went for about 32 that night, so he probably wasn't real happy with me. But anyway, the next speaker I have is also inducted into the JHS Athletic Hall of Fame. Probably put on one of the greatest one-quarter performances I've ever seen in a clutch situation. We were beat 1981. That damn coach over at Southridge, what's his name? What's that guy's name? Who? Who?
Duncan.
I can't hear. Who is it? Who is it?
Somebody say it loud so I can hear it.
Anyway, he had us beat again. And he was double teaming Ballinger as soon as he came across the floor. And, you know, he had to give it up. And we're down, what, 12, 14 points going into the fourth quarter. And in his infinite wisdom, he decides, oh, we can take that off. Let's, you know, back it up a little bit. And this guy comes down and starts shooting before the three-pointer. And he went off for, I want to say about 24 points in the fourth quarter. Okay, we win by 2. Unbelievable. Just a great basketball game. Not as good as the triple overtime, but damn close. But anyway, one of the best that ever put on a uniform, Mike Ballinger.
Before I say anything about Rex, I could talk to him forever, but I want to talk about everybody here who played before I did at the old gym. I'm going to get emotional about this because I wish my dad was here because he had the utmost respect for Rex. My dad did. You guys, when I was a kid, watching you guys play at the old gym, packed, you know, Tell City on Friday, New Albany on Saturday, Boonville Friday, Southridge Saturday. It was the greatest time. I learned how to be a Jasper Wildcat watching you guys. And the idea was to win, right? There wasn't like, the idea was just to win. That was the whole thing. Rex trusted me, so thank all you guys because you set a great example, not just for me, but all the guys that came after you guys. I never got a chance to play in the old gym, wish I had. Freshman year at Christmas, we moved out to the new gym. Goose went for 42
No way.
against Washington, right? Our first game? Yeah. My freshman year, I only got to be with Rex 2 years. My freshman year, he was my JV coach. Senior year was his first year as varsity. How they didn't immediately move him in after Coach Schulteis left is the most confusing thing that I know of in the years I've lived in Jasper. I haven't lived here since I was 18. Rex trusted me my freshman year, and he trusted me my senior year to win games, because that's what it was all about. You guys set that example before us, and Rex trusted me those 2 years. And I told him this last year when I saw him about this time. The best 2 years I ever played basketball in my life was the 2 years he coached me. There was no gray area, right? It was this way or it wasn't the right way. And that's exactly what I needed the 2 years I had him. I wish I'd have had him all 4. I said this to him, and I said this last year, or 2 years ago at the Calumet. If I would have had Rex and all my teammates would have had Rex all 4 years, we'd have all been better players and we all would have won more games. Rex, thank you, man. A lot of great things have happened to me because I grew up here, and you were a big part of that. I thank you.
Well said. You know, playing for the Jasper Wildcats was probably one of the greatest thrill of my life besides marrying my wife. I gotta say that, she's right here. But anyway, one quick story, he's talking about his father, who we all know, Mr. Ballinger. My father, who was a huge high school basketball fan and a huge Jasper Wildcats fan. Well, when I was playing JV for Rex, we had a guy on the team, Steve Evilhair, who was a Holy Family Owl, and Dad liked to have a few beers, and he always stood up there by the wits, you know, whatever. And we're playing, I can't remember who we were playing, and all of a sudden, about the middle of the second quarter, he's up, my dad's up there, he's going, "Put in Evilhair!" And I mean, you know, there's 12 people in the gym, you know, and "Put in Evilhair!" Oh, God dang. You could hear it all. So we go down at halftime, and Rex goes through his crap, you know, he's talking, blah, blah, and he goes, "And Weber, if your dad says another damn word, you're out of the game." Okay. So sure enough, about 2 minutes into the third quarter, "Put in Evilhair!" Well, he put in Evilhair, all right. And guess who was sitting on the bench? It's a wonder we won that game. But anyway. Okay. My second and last speaker tonight, so be patient, we're getting there, was also class of '81. Later to become head coach of the Jasper Wildcats. So he's got a lot of relationship with Rex. Mr. Kenny Schulteis.
A lot of great players here besides you, Slick.
Yeah,
See
none
Stan-
greater though.
see
None
Stan
greater.
the man geese are back there.
Wayne Bailey,
Yeah, there you
Mike
go.
Leager, Mike
That's a
Ballinger,
heck
so.
of a place to be. You know, two things, Rex, about Rex May, Coach May. There's been about 24 head coaches in the 100+ years of Jasper basketball. Only 24. And if you split it down to how many were here more than 3, because you know how tough it is to coach in Du Bois County, period, Rex is part of those 10. So that tells you right there what a connection he had with the game, with his players, with the sport. Plus the years as an assistant and all the success. And as Mike Ballinger said, we don't know what happened that he didn't succeed at Schulteis. Everybody thought he would. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And we came in for 3 years, and Coach Kirshner, who went on, maybe didn't understand what it was like down here coming from the north. Maybe he didn't have respect for this area. But he went on to Florida and had a great career. But we just seem to go down. Not year, every month. We just seem to go down. We just seem to lose that swagger. We seem to lose that we got chinks in the armor that we didn't know we had. And when Rex got that job, I was turning a senior. And Mike Ballinger, and Bobby Pope, and Danny Ackerman, and Mike Stewart. And we were excited because we felt like the confidence that he brought, the connection he brought. We knew him as Coach May. We knew what he could do. We saw what he could do. And then we had this great junior class coming up, Donnie Schulteis and Mike Berger, Dean Murder, Tom Weidenbender, Dave Wills. And right behind us were 3 pretty good juniors who are here tonight, Tim Farabach, Dwayne Murder, and John Schulteis, guys that would go on and be county scoring champions and successful. We knew we had the pieces. But you know, in coaching, it's not about the pieces. It's about, can you put the puzzle together? And that's what Coach May brought to us. He came in immediately. We're in the gym, we're working out, we're giving the effort we thought we needed to give. Well, Coach May was pretty clear from the beginning about the effort we needed to give. And whether you were working your butt off, you needed to do more. All the extra reps,
all the extra drills, all the time after practice, like Mike Berger was just talking about on free throws, all the running, the sprints, the stairs, the killer drills, hit the free throw and you're done, miss the free throw, we go again, and we win again many, many, many times. But all those things are important, and this is where it comes into play. So we move through the season, we're a pretty good team, and we know that. But we run into a Vincent's team that kicks our butt. Courtney Whitty, it's just really good team. They win the state championship. But we go down the line, we have a great game against New Albany at home. New Albany has a great player. I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the state at the time. I can't remember. Mike Ballinger has a great game. We win it by 1. Every TV station, news outlet was there for it. It was amazing. Gym was packed. Then we go down, as Mike Berger talked about, the rights. We stub our toe. We're terrible. It's a cold ride down. You get off the bus, and you don't want to get off the bus because it's so warm. You get in the gym. The lighting's terrible at Rights at the time. It was just horrible. We got beat. We got beat on a buzzer beater. I'm not sure it was good, but it did go in. And we came up, and we got our asses chewed. We got swinging dicks and everything else going on. But you know, we needed that because we'd been to the top against New Albany, and we weren't quite where we needed to be. So we get beat by Rights. We come back, we win a few games, then we go to Bedford. And anybody who's played at Bedford knows what it's like at Bedford.
It's true.
So we were in Bedford, and that night we got beat. But it was a different kind of loss. Because that night, the crowd was crazy in Bedford. They were all over Mike Ballinger because he was being recruited heavily by UK, and that was IU country. The referees didn't even give you a shot to get back in the game. Fights were breaking out. Players from Bedford were screaming at our coaching staff. We didn't like that at all. We were battling back, and that night we got beat. We went in the dressing room. We didn't get that chew out. We got more of a, here's where we're at, here's what we need to do, and we moved forward. But that night changed our team because we became a team that was tough, physically, mentally together, not individually. So we go over to that sectional, and here's how it sets up. The last 3 years we lose to Perry Central, the next year we lose to Du Bois, the next year we lose to Southridge. Guess what the draw comes out? Perry Central, probably playing Du Bois, finishing up with Southridge. We go in, we take care of Perry Central. We feel good about ourselves. We come back against Du Bois. They are a tough team. We didn't play them during the season back then. And they are a tough team. And John Church had them go, and we are down 10 points second half. We're in foul trouble. Key players are out. But we look over that bench, and we see Coach May. We see Coach Yarl. And they are right there. They are leading us through it. Our confidence is we're making changes in the lineup. We're using fouls to take care of the clock. We're trying to be aggressive and get things to go our way. Boom, we come back and win that game. John Church told me some things on the sideline that night that I won't repeat in this room. I was, only 17, 18 years old, but he didn't mind sharing it with me. I talked to him about it later on. The next night, we got to play Southridge. We beat Southridge by 5 during the season. It is a battle from the beginning. Everybody in the gym hates Jasper. You know the feeling. We've all been there when we attended that sectional. Southridge takes a big lead on us. And that fourth quarter, as Slick mentioned, it's huge. And Mike Ballinger is hitting big shot after big shot. And Berger's getting steals. And we're knocking the ball away. We're getting deflections. And we're doing everything that you've got to do to have a chance to win. Because that's what Coach May taught us throughout the year. In every one of those practices, in every one of those loose balls, in every one of those extra running drills, in every one of those extra reps, that you got to put yourself in a position and be ready to have an opportunity to win. So we get there late. It's about a minute left or so. I think we're down 1 maybe at the time. And we are at the foul line. They're shooting. And I'm on the floor, and I'm standing at the foul line next to a player, I think his name, it was one of the racers. And we're standing there, and they're shooting. And we're all talking, who's got the block out? Who's got the block out? And I did that when I was playing, I did that when I was coaching, because he taught us to make sure you call out who's blocking out the shooter. And so we're talking all through that, and we're going at it, and we're getting ready, and I got him, okay, I got the shooter, and I think it was Stan Racner. He's standing there, and he's got his hands on his thighs. And he looks up towards me and goes, wow, I'm tired. And right then and there, I knew we were going to win that game, even though we were down 1. And they missed the free throw. We blocked out. We got it. We went down. We were able to score, and we hit free throws to hold on and win that game. And I took that through the rest of my life in coaching and when I'm working with players. Never put your hands on your thighs because you don't want to give away that you're tired. But all those things were taught to us in that period. He was my JV coach, my business law teacher, my driver's ed teacher. But all those little things carried on. And so we got into that final game at Southridge with 6,500 screaming people. And we were able to get Perry Central from the first year, Du Bois from the second year, and Southridge from the third year, and win that sectional championship in 1981. But when anybody says, who was your head coach in high school, I immediately say with pride, Coach Rexman.
Okay. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank some anonymous donors who I won't name that made a lot of this possible.
You can.
Go ahead. All right. But anyway, I really appreciate the outpouring that I received from everybody here. I was fortunate enough to grow up during a time where Cabby O'Neill was sold out every night. I got to watch Gary Corbin and Terry Fleck. I was a little bit too young to watch Bobby Murder and Chesty Leaguer, but I heard the stories. Always said, my dad always told me, you'll never be as good as those guys, and he was right. But anyway, being a Jasper Wildcat was special. It's still special today, or anyway, it better be. And I think that's evident by all the people here, tonight. So I really appreciate each and every one of you coming tonight to share stories about Rex. I got one more speaker tonight. The man, the myth, the legend, Rex May. Get up here, Rex.
Uh-oh. You'll be fine, relax.
Hey, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to put it out this way. Slinky did a hell of a job getting these people together. And I'll tell you what, when Will and I drove up out here, I thought, God dang, it's a big crowd. I didn't know this was going to happen.
Speak right into that microphone.
Oh, okay. Is that, what you got?
It's just speak closer to it, that's all.
Okay. Anyway, I could go back each one of these years and talk about things that, about some of these guys that's in here. And, from my first year down here. And, but I'm gonna talk about some of them. And, one was, when you said, Mike said, Ballinger said he wished I was his coach for 4 years. Listen, I tried to get that job. I've been in Jasper 9 years, won 89% or 88% of my big games, and helped Schulteis. Schulteis, by the way, was a heck of a good guy to work with. You could talk to him about things. Sometimes he'd buy it, sometimes he wouldn't. I remember Mike Keish was playing Ferdinand. And this was, I think, and I'm not criticizing, I think he kind of froze in the third quarter. He said the third quarter's about over, we was behind a little bit, and, I said, well, I said, just go that fourth baseline. You remember when we had the four on the baseline, and you had guard with the ball? Well, we got Kais with the ball. I said, give Kais the ball. They can't stop him. And they didn't stop him. And so we won that game. And we won the sectional that year. And then I told Mike, and Mike thought I was putting him down, but he got us there to that sectional. And when we went to the regional, I'll tell you what, today I wouldn't be living if I hadn't bet my life back then, because we was playing Larry Bird that much over there in the final game, or in the afternoon game, and Kais come down the floor, and there's 12 seconds to go, we were down one, and Schulteis said, should we call time? I said, no, he got the ball in the right guy's hands. And well, he come down, and he come up, and he shot that ball. And I'll tell you what, he wouldn't have missed one in a week, but he missed that one. And then the next one come right back to him, and he would hit either one. I'd bet my life. That's why I didn't bet anybody. Nobody said that. But I'll tell you what, I had faith in him, and he was a heck of a ball player. And just things like this, you remember Rick Begley on our team, you know, on the reserve. He played for me on the reserves, and Bulldog Elliott played too. He was forced around down the dressing room. And we had a holiday tourney that day, and so we go to play this tourney, and we won the first game. And then I go down the dressing room, and Bulldog was chasing
Bird dog.
with the was chasing Begley. Begley hurt his leg. He could play that he needed it. Bird dog. He didn't play either. And we got beat that night. They were down in the dressing room, of course, and I don't know who started it, but anyway, I know who So anyway, but just little things like that makes it good. And talk about Kenny Schulteis in '81 when we went to play Du Bois. They had a decent team that year, and but we did too. And so what happened was, they filed Ballinger out, and he walked by his church, and the church said something Ballinger, he didn't like what he said, and I probably wouldn't either if I'd heard it. But anyway, I said, Kenny, you get in there, and you get a shot, you take it. And he took one, and that was a big shot, because they had momentum going at that time, and he calmed that momentum down real quick when he took that first shot. And I told his wife down in Evansville one day, I saw her, I said, I can remember a shot heard around the world. That was as far as I'm concerned, because it was big. And so we beat Du Bois. Next night, Ballinger took care of it. But the thing is, it's just little things like that makes it worthwhile. And you try to help kids, you know, and some of it was in business law, some was in salesmanship, and salesmanship always made the world go round. And business law was #1 class in school, as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, we made it just great. And I see somebody today, you know, and I won't know them. Well, I was in your business law class. Well, there's a lot of people in business law. But anyway, it was funny. But all this happened, and trying to get this job, let me tell you about that. I've been here 9 years, had success with the reserves, because they had good ball players. And we had, I went 3 interviews And they said they don't know why. Well, the school board's the reason I didn't get it. So, anyway, I got interviewed 3 times, and I was an assistant baseball coach to Mr. Goblin, and he, Mr. Stutz came up we was at Sima State, and Sima State was here that year, and we played Brazil, and Mr. Stutz came up, he was superintendent, he said, well, just want to let you know, they hired this other person. I said, well, okay. Well, the next day I tried to get a job, a couple of places that everybody already hired. So I stayed, and then 3 years later, Kirshner left, and he had a little theory with Mike Ballinger. You know, all the kids didn't like Mike Ballinger, but it's a junior sophomore. And the reason they didn't was he always was the last one out in the dressing room as Kirshner's coach. And he'd tell the class, you know, like, well, boy, we're gonna play team ball, we're gonna do this, you know, and he didn't know what the hell team ball was. So the thing is, I told old Ballinger, I said, he always told Ballinger, he said, Ballinger's always the last out of the dressing room. Mike, come here. He says, forget what I said. You get a shot, you take it. Hey, you tell a high school kid to shoot it. That's what they want to hear, right? Everybody plays basketball wants to shoot. So anyway, I told Mike, I said, why don't you go out first and quit listening to that crap? And he said, well, you know, he didn't. So I had to, first of all, when I got that job, I got these guys together, told them why they didn't like Mike Ballinger. And it wasn't Mike's fault. But the thing is, just little things like that makes you like the coach, you know? And maybe you get a job, maybe you won't. But you try to do the best you can. And I was lucky enough to have, well, first of all, players. You have to have players. And I want to tell you about Bailey. This is a true story, and it was, I couldn't believe it. But I couldn't believe it myself. But I come down here, Winslow and Bailey were sophomores. So I was hired as a cross-country coach, but they took me out of that and let me practice the boys that wasn't in football. And Bailey and Winslow wasn't in football that year. So I worked with those guys, and I thought, God dang, they're gonna be good. And so anyway, we practiced, and then Schulteis came up for football, he's assistant football coach, and he said, we're gonna play Washington. We played twice at that time, twice a year, home and away. And so I said, Schulteis, are you looking at Bailey and Winslow? No, he says, down here, you can't win with sophomores on the varsity, but maybe in Du Bois you could. I've been any place that had those two. Anyway, I go home and tell my wife, I said, hey, I'm gonna have a help reserve team. I said, I think we could be a lot of varsity team. So we go in the first night, we open up with Washington at Jasper. Bailey had 27 points. And I go down, boy, I'm really happy because we're ahead, you know, I know we're gonna win. And Schulteis come up on me, he says, don't play Bailey anymore. He said, I'm moving up. And you know what, I told Schulteis about 50 times, I was too good as a third coach. I said, I got Bailey ready. Oh, no, we horse around for it. Anyway, then Bailey, Winslow went up at Central game on the 5th game. And of course, they proved out what they could do. They were outstanding players. And, anyway, that's just the way it is. So I appreciate everybody coming. And I could go on forever talking about some of these things, and I know you don't want to hear that. So, I just want to thank you for being here, and thank you for, I thank Jasper for letting me have a job coaching there. And, everything went great. And I appreciate
Not good with that.
well, I want to thank everybody. Mr. Coach John Aldridge would like to say a word. Come on up here, Coach.
I don't want to hold you up, but I just want to say one thing. I was on Coach May's staff in 1981, was my first year as a varsity assistant. I was hired as a basketball coach when Ed Kirchner was his first year. So Rex and I have always been great friends. From the time I came to Jasper High School in 1973 till I left in 1983, he was one of my best friends. I loved his family. He loved my family. In 1978, we had a blizzard. We didn't go to school one day in the month of January. We didn't miss a basketball game all month.
Priority.
Okay. The other Rex would come to my house and we'd have lunch and we'd talk and so forth, you know, what we did. But here's a story that I remember. I went to Princeton one night and coached and scouted a basketball game. We were going to play them the next week. I came back and said, when this guy, I can't remember his name, but when he gets the ball, back off of him, let him shoot. So in the first half, we backed off the guy and let him shoot, and he hit about 5 or 6 baskets. So we got in the locker room, and he looked at me and said, I thought you said that guy couldn't shoot. So if you're a player, you heard those same things. No, I heard it too. Rex came from Kentucky to be here tonight, from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And I would do it a million times. My wife wanted to come. She had a knee replacement on Monday. She was so sure she was gonna come that she made me tell Slick that we're gonna be 2. Obviously, you know, she couldn't come, but she really wanted to be here. Thank y'all.
Okay, this microphone will be open all night. So when you get a few beers in you, you want to come up here and tell a story about Rex, don't be afraid. Anita, is that food ready? Okay. As soon as the food comes out, we'll start with Rex's table and let them eat first. We'll go to his daughter's table, and then after that, it's a free-for-all. Thank you all very much, and enjoy.
You want to shut that off? I haven't.